When 17-year-old Austin Riley stepped into the batter's box for the bottom of the ninth inning, down by 2 runs against their biggest rivals, nobody in Hernando High School's stadium could have predicted that what happened next would uncover a 30-year-old mystery that would change his life forever. The night was electric with tension. DeSoto Central versus Hernando High, the rivalry that had divided Mississippi towns for generations. Austin's team was trailing 7-5, and this was their last chance. The crowd was deafening, split between the visiting DeSoto fans and the home crowd desperate to crush their rivals' playoff dreams. What Austin didn't know was that this single at-bat would connect him to a legend he'd never heard of. Austin had been Mississippi's Gatorade Player of the Year, but tonight felt different. The pressure was suffocating. College scouts filled the stands, and his future hung in the balance. As he dug into the batter's box, he noticed something strange. The rival coach was staring at him with an expression he couldn't read. Not anger, not intimidation, but something almost like recognition? The first pitch screamed past him, a fastball down the middle. Strike one. Austin stepped out, took a deep breath, and reset. His father's voice echoed in his memory. When the pressure's highest, that's when champions are made. Little did anyone in that stadium realize that the next pitch would shatter more than just a scoreboard. The pitcher wound up for his signature curveball, the pitch that had struck out Austin twice already that game. But this time, Austin was ready. He saw the rotation, calculated the break, and swung with everything he had. The crack of the bat silenced the entire stadium. The ball rocketed off Austin's bat like a missile. Soaring high into the night sky, it cleared the fence by 50 feet and headed straight for Hernando High's massive electronic scoreboard. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the baseball smashed directly into the center display, sending sparks flying and pieces of metal crashing to the ground. The scoreboard flickered once, twice, then went completely black. For a moment, nobody moved. Then, the DeSoto fans erupted in celebration, while the Hernando crowd sat in shocked silence. Austin rounded the bases in a daze, unable to believe what he had just done. But what nobody noticed in the chaos was that the impact had dislodged something that had been hidden behind the scoreboard for decades. As Austin crossed home plate, tying the game, maintenance workers were already rushing toward the wreckage. Among the twisted metal and broken electronics, one worker discovered something that would send shockwaves through both schools. A small metal box, weathered and old, had fallen from a hidden compartment behind the scoreboard. Inside was a baseball card from 1987 and a handwritten note that would reveal a secret connection Austin never could have imagined. What happened next would turn a moment of athletic triumph into the beginning of an incredible mystery that had been waiting 30 years to be solved. 3 hours after the game ended, as Austin sat at home still replaying his legendary home run, he had no idea that an elderly man was already driving toward his house with the answers to questions he didn't even know he should ask. The maintenance worker had immediately brought the mysterious box to the school principal, who recognized the significance of what they had found. The baseball card showed a young player in a Hernando High uniform, dated 1987. The handwritten note was even more intriguing. For the next one who breaks this scoreboard, the circle continues. Find Coach Mitchell if you want to know the truth. What Austin couldn't have known was that Coach Mitchell had been waiting for this moment for over 3 decades. Harold Mitchell was now 72 years old, long retired from coaching at Hernando High. But in 1987, he had been a young assistant coach when another phenomenal player had done the impossible, smashed that same scoreboard with what everyone called the most powerful home run in county history. That player's name was Marcus Thompson, and he had gone on to play 3 seasons in the major leagues before a career-ending injury. But before he left for the pros, Marcus had made Coach Mitchell promise something that seemed impossible at the time. Someday, Another kid is going to break this scoreboard the same way I did. When that happens, you find him and tell him what I'm about to tell you." Little did Coach Mitchell realize that promise would take 30 years to fulfill. The knock on Austin's door came at 11:30 p.m. His parents were already asleep, but Austin was still too wired from the game to rest. When he opened the door and saw the elderly man with kind eyes and a weathered Hernando High jacket, his first thought was that he was in trouble for damaging school property. "Austin Riley?" the man asked with a slight smile. "I'm Harold Mitchell. I coached at Hernando for 40 years. We need to talk about what happened tonight, and about something that happened 30 years ago that's going to sound impossible." Austin invited him in, curiosity overriding his confusion. Coach Mitchell sat down at the kitchen table and pulled out the metal box, setting it carefully between them. "Son, you weren't the first person to break that scoreboard with a home run," Coach Mitchell began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "In 1987, a young man named Marcus Thompson did exactly what you did tonight. Same spot, same result, same power." Austin stared at the baseball card showing a player who looked remarkably similar to him. Same build, same batting stance, even the same determined expression. What Coach Mitchell revealed next would make Austin question everything he thought he knew about coincidence and destiny. "Marcus made me promise that when someone else broke that scoreboard, not if, but when, I would tell them about the gift we discovered he had, a gift that went far beyond just hitting home runs." Austin leaned forward, completely absorbed. The secret Coach Mitchell was about to share would explain not just Marcus Thompson's mysterious career, but why Austin's own abilities seemed to defy explanation. Coach Mitchell opened the weathered box and carefully removed a folded piece of paper along with the 1987 baseball card. As Austin examined the card more closely, he noticed something that made his heart skip a beat. Marcus Thompson's batting statistics were identical to his own through their senior seasons. "This isn't possible," Austin whispered, comparing the numbers. "These are exactly my stats." "That's what I said 30 years ago," Coach Mitchell replied with a knowing smile. But Marcus insisted it wasn't a coincidence. He had discovered something about himself that he made me swear to keep secret until I found his successor. What Marcus had discovered would challenge everything Austin believed about natural talent versus something far more extraordinary. Coach Mitchell unfolded the letter Marcus had written 3 decades earlier. In neat handwriting, it read, "To whoever breaks the scoreboard next, you have the same gift I discovered in myself. You don't just see the ball, you see the future of the ball. Every pitch, you know exactly where it will be before the pitcher even releases it. This isn't luck or practice. This is something different." Austin felt a chill run down his spine. Marcus had described exactly what Austin experienced at the plate, a strange ability to predict not just the type of pitch, but its precise location and timing. He had always assumed every good hitter felt this way. Marcus spent months testing his ability. He could call every pitch with perfect accuracy. He knew exactly when to swing for maximum power. The scouts called it incredible instincts, but Marcus knew it was something more. "So what happened to him?" Austin asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Coach Mitchell's expression grew serious. "He made it to the majors just like everyone expected, but the ability that made him special also overwhelmed him. He started seeing not just the next pitch, but entire at-bats, entire games. The mental strain became too much. He retired early, not because of injury, but because the gift had become a burden." Austin stared at the letter, understanding flooding through him. The strange dreams he'd been having, dreams where he saw himself hitting specific pitches in specific situations, suddenly made perfect sense. But Marcus learned something important in his final season, Coach Mitchell said, his voice filled with hope. He discovered that the gift could be controlled, channeled. That's why he left this message. He wanted the next person to learn from his mistakes. Austin looked up from the letter, his mind racing. What Coach Mitchell told him next would determine whether Austin's extraordinary ability would become his greatest asset or his downfall. Son, you have a choice to make. You can ignore what I've told you and continue playing naturally, or you can learn to control this gift properly. Marcus left detailed instructions, but the decision is yours. As Coach Mitchell reached into the box one final time, Austin realized that this moment, not the home run, not the broken scoreboard, was the real turning point of his life. The contents of that final envelope would either unlock Austin's full potential or warn him away from a path that had nearly destroyed the only other person who shared his extraordinary gift.
Sometimes, the most incredible discoveries come from the most unexpected moments. A broken scoreboard revealed a 30-year mystery and connected two extraordinary athletes across generations. If this story amazed you, don't forget to like and subscribe to The Baseball Story for more incredible tales from the diamond. What other secrets might be hidden in the places we least expect?